Okay, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming to this special meeting of the Wiscasset Climate Action Team to finish some of our materials and planning for our application to the Maine Community Resilience Partnership. I think it's a sober week in that last week we were hit by not one but two really severe coastal storms that were made more severe by the fact that we have had almost 9 inches of sea level rise on the coast of Maine. So almost certainly the impacts of those storms was worse than it would have been because of the effects of sea level rise and climate change. And I think that really struck home for me that we have been, the work that we're doing is really important. And we also, I think, are focusing in on some really important priorities to address impacts like what we saw last week.
And I think it will help us with the community to make them, this is important, it really is happening.
Certainly, certainly. So today we have a pretty simple agenda. I will be taking notes on my laptop, and Leslie was kind enough to share the resolution on the screen. But today, the Community Resilience Partnership Working Group, which is myself and Jan and Leslie, wanted to respond to some of the feedback that we received from you all at our last meeting, as well as some of our select board members on the municipal resolution that we're going to be presenting to the select board as part, which is one of the requirements of our application to the Community Resilience Partnership. And so the draft resolution was circulated to you all by email ahead of time. And today we're really looking for red flags. Is there language that you really would like to suggest a specific edit to? Or are you happy with this? Can you live with it? We wanted to make this a little more action oriented, but it has gone through quite a bit of editing. So we're really just looking for, is there anything you can't live with that you want to work on today? And so I think we'll spend 10 or 15 minutes on that. And then we wanted to have a discussion with you all about identifying the projects that we're going to recommend to the select board for the community action grant application. The CRP working group members felt really strongly that the project that's selected needs to be selected in partnership with the town. So that would be possibly the town manager. We're not sure if the select board will be involved, but as part of our resolution, we have to present a list of potential projects and potential funding sources to the select board. So once we finalize this language, we'll dive right into that discussion of the projects that we want to prioritize in line with the priorities in the resolution. So with that, Terry, thank you very much for getting a few paper copies of the resolution for us.
I know we should be working on that one, but
We have it also on the screen, so Leslie can, I think, reflect edits, any edits we want to make in real time. But just reviewing this, a couple of the changes that we made to the resolution since the last meeting were really to the priorities. The fourth whereas section, we tried to make those priorities more action oriented. You'll notice they have action words like make the town's infrastructure climate ready, adopt and execute a plan, provide timely communication. We also reordered them a little bit based on your feedback and put making the town's infrastructure climate ready at the top, followed by adopting and executing a plan for energy efficiency and building envelope weatherization, including a focus on preparing the Wiscasset Community Center as a shelter, which we'll circle around to when we talk about projects, provide timely communication and education to our community members about climate change impacts and solutions, number 3. Number 4, adopt a climate resilience plan that describes high priority strategies for reducing risk to vulnerable members of our community, as well as critical community infrastructure. And lastly, identify and protect areas for living shorelines and salt marsh migration areas. The second more substantial edit we made at the end was just to the last resolution, saying that the town of Wiscasset designates our team, our climate action team, to advise and monitor progress on the town's energy and climate resilience projects, and to be a primary point of contact to the Community Resilience Partnership. We felt that that was a very doable role for us as a committee. We're not really set up to run any projects ourselves on behalf of the town, but I think advising and monitoring progress is something that we think we're eminently able to do. So with that, I'll open the floor to any comments, anything. Is there anything in here you would like to recommend a specific edit to? Remember, remembering we've done a lot of work on this, so we want to make sure we can get to that final language today.
Yeah, just number 2, I think the community center is set up as a shelter. And as a matter of fact, they sent a text out that it was available during one of the storms. So I don't know if that's necessary.
I don't know that it's been designated as a
Right.
shelter officially. I know
I don't know, but I know
that,
they take the initiative to.
and St. Philip's sends people over there who need a shower, or takes them over there.
Yeah, the last time we had the power outage, people were showing up there and were told that they couldn't use the showers unless they were members. So there's still some chaos, and I think this will help. This will make it more official, help iron it out, and also help make sure that if we need to have packets of toiletries and towels, cots, blankets, whatnot, that we're really prepared.
Okay, thanks for the clarification.
I think likewise, one of the things, we can talk about this in the projects, is preparing it as a shelter during climate emergencies, like severe storms and power outages. To me, that's like, it's both the cold emergencies and the hot emergencies, or the heat emergencies, and it just isn't set up for heat emergencies right now.
No, it's not.
I think part of what we can talk about for like that, recommending the community center be a shelter, is that they upgrade to a heat pump system that would give them that cooling capability that they just don't have right now. But yeah, Leslie, I think you hit a great point on getting like material. We can ask the town about what materials would be required, cots, blankets, to make this a true shelter.
And the thought would be that this would be a 24-hour thing. In other words, they would be staying overnight beyond 8 o'clock. That means that we have to commit to personnel, additional personnel.
That's right.
Yeah. So, we need to take that into account.
Yeah, good point.
And materials.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
and then I think we'd also have to make sure that we send out a communication town-wide so everybody knows this is the plan, this is where you need to go if there is a climate emergency, because there's obviously still some confusion.
Can that be sent out like those things on the phone? You get a beep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Marty, are you happy with the language as it is?
Yeah,
at
it
present?
needs to be formalized.
Great.
Actually,
Awesome, thank you.
Good change.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, suggestions?
What, the third whereas, is that, why is that put in there? I mean, I don't have any question, it's just, it doesn't seem to tell anything.
It's more, we're a little inspired by the town of Yarmouth's climate municipal resolution in including the first few clauses. And that in particular, I think, just communicates that the town wants to convert to clean energy, underprepared town really quickly, that we see that as a priority.
Okay,
Yeah, so I think that's more of a statement of values. It's not required for the Community Resilience Partnership application. It's more, what values are we communicating through this?
thank you.
So we gotta submit this to the select board prior to asking them to vote on this and have them get their input.
Correct. Yes,
'Cause,
so,
some of the things may be objected to, and
yeah,
whatever,
certainly,
so
it may be edited.
we want to be able to have it adopted.
Yeah, absolutely. So my plan with the resolution is to submit this with a letter explaining, again, that, what this is for, what it's achieving. It is a non-binding resolution, so hopefully that's helpful. And then explaining the projects that we recommend, and potential sources of funding to go along with the priority areas.
Cassie, do you also have to, I know Shri had asked us a question to make sure that we were showing alignment to the surveys and the meetings, the public meetings. Do we also need to share our findings with the select board based on meeting number 2 and based on feedback from the surveys, top priorities?
We could certainly provide that as an appendix, maybe the results of the survey and a summary of the workshop feedback. Yeah, absolutely, we can provide that too.
We do have it all summarized. We had put it together on a PowerPoint, so it wouldn't be hard to share it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if we're gonna be making decisions on that tonight, can we see the PowerPoint?
We don't have a specific PowerPoint for the select board.
No,
Right.
for us.
But I can show you the summary that we've put together. I mean, it's really rough, but hold on, let me just try to, let me stop sharing for just a second.
Sure.
Hold on.
Well, before we go on to look at that,
Yeah.
I want to make sure we wrap a bow around the resolution
That's good.
language.
I make a motion to accept the
Second,
draft municipal resolution language as written.
Okay, thank you. Motion's made, it's been seconded. All in favor of finalizing the resolution and submitting it to the select board?
Aye.
Aye, okay. It's unanimous. There are no nays, no abstentions. Motion is passed.
6-0.
well done.
Thank you all. It's been a long
Yes,
long road, a lot of work, and I really appreciate
what's
all
going to
your input.
benefit this committee more than anything, these last 2 storms,
Yeah.
the community support.
Yeah.
Everybody knows how important it is now.
Yes,
Yeah, I'm not sure everyone does.
God sent 2 storms.
God works in mysterious ways.
She does.
Yes, she does.
Well, I thought it was gonna make a big difference after Storm Sandy hit New York City. It didn't change much.
Well, we're smaller and we don't have quite as much stuff as
I
New
think we
York.
will have to work hard on this.
we'll have to work hard. So perhaps we can spend a few minutes on the preparation for the select board and things that you all would like to see in the letter, and any if a presentation is appropriate, a short, like 5-minute introduction, 5-minute introduction. That's certainly something that we can do as well.
Short is good.
Okay, so short 5-10 minute intro to our work and the municipal resolution.
The board is going to appreciate efficiency. But it's not to say that they're not gonna appreciate what you've done. We need to make it very clear,
I mean, this is,
the work entailed.
Yes, I think it sounds appropriate to talk about a lot about the workshops, the public feedback and input that we got. You know, we had 60 responses to the public survey. We had 20 to 30 people attend each workshop. So we had substantial input to prioritizing these and then prioritizing the potential actions in this resolution, and then using that to make our recommendations for projects. So yes, I think definitely talking about the workshops, the public input. I think I've also been feeling that just pointing out the sort of unique moment we're at, where we just had two very big storms, but also we had the warmest year in Earth history, in our recorded climate history, was last year, and this year will probably exceed it.
Mhm.
I think, are some pretty big climate indicators.
and I think what speaks to everybody on this is if we could get a report on how much the cost of it was this year as far as air conditioning and everything, because everybody had, that comes out of everybody's pocket. And I think if they can see things in dollars and cents, you know, how much more they had to spend on that. And I have an Airbnb and I had those air conditioners going all the time. And in the summer, I mean, excuse me, in the winter, how much more wood or oil or electricity.
Well, I don't mean to be a downer, but how would you get that information from the individual citizens? I don't.
Oh, no, I would think it's probably an across the board thing,
Yeah,
not,
yeah, generally.
oh, no, yeah, there must
Yeah,
be indications of how much was spent
I
on.
think I
da-da-da.
misunderstood
Yeah,
what you were trying to.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
no, I wasn't gonna talk to you.
Yeah, there's actually, the Maine Climate Council did an analysis of the costs and benefits of climate change to Maine, and they have some round numbers of estimated costs.
Great.
That's gonna be the first question so many people are going to ask, how much is this gonna cost me?
Is that, that's on the website, right?
It is,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
under
right.
the technical
Yeah.
reports.
You know what, I should have said this at the beginning of what you were talking about. I think you could put in a line somewhere at the beginning about how many hours you put in on, you know, about the climate action team, in the meetings, in preparation, but also in the workshops that we have.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and line it up. Even though the board appreciates volunteers, but it's important to see why we appreciate volunteers. It's a lot of time.
Mhm.
So include something that Maloney loves numbers.
Good to know.
Hmm.
We have lots of numbers we can pull on.
Maybe too many.
Okay,
So when does Dennis come back and Sarah? When does Dennis and Sarah come back?
What?
When does Dennis and Sarah come back?
Oh, 2 weeks from 2 days ago. 2 weeks from Tuesday.
So will they be back for the meeting or
And
that
we'll be
won't
back
be?
from
a
meeting,
They will be
yes.
back.
Right.
Okay, so
But
you
know,
need
just
to,
right before it.
you need to submit the resolution to Aaron and have him put it on the agenda for when they come back.
yes, that will be done, just as soon as my accompanying letter is done.
Next week.
So yeah, by early next week.
And then, be on, in order to get on the agenda. Yeah.
Yes.
You
Absolutely.
have such a nice soft voice. Really.
Oh, sorry about
You're
that.
so gentle. Huh.
Okay, thank you. This was very helpful. I will also circulate the letter accompanying the resolution to all of you by email, before I forward that one to Erin. Okay, Wonderful. Okay, so the next item on our agenda was potential projects that we'd like to prioritize that line up, that we would like to recommend to the select board and the town, that line up with the priorities in our resolution. And so what really we're trying to do is to identify some high priority projects that we can identify a top priority for the community action grant. But there are also a lot of grant opportunities that as soon as we join the partnership, we can get assistance in applying for additional grant funding for.
So would you like us to put other projects in that would
Yes.
we would get that money?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So projects. So perhaps we could talk first about the community action grant and what we'd like to
Yeah.
prioritize for a project.
Yeah.
And so I will open up the floor to.
Well, as I said, I want to see what the summary was, because that's what we want to see what the summary is, because we want to base it on that, correct?
So which summary?
Not our individual feelings or whatever, we want to base it on the input we received.
This is a
Yes.
result of it, isn't
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I've got that summarized. I can flash that up. I mean,
Oh, that
it's,
was
yeah,
great.
Leslie, do you want to pull that
yeah,
up?
hold on just a second. Let me flail around and share my screen. I do this every day. It shouldn't be that hard.
it? But nobody's watching.
I get text when I have to do it.
God. Okay, so this is a little bit janky only because I put it together as a sanity check. I wanted to compare the survey, the public survey, the WCAT team survey, and the public meeting number 2 actions to see how they all lined up. So can you guys see that okay? Let me make it a little bit bigger.
Make it way bigger.
Way.
Make it way, way bigger. Okay, hold on. Let me change the view. Just a second. I just do a slide view.
Yes, I know, saying, Jesus.
I wonder if we can have it printed out.
I don't have it printed out. No way. Hold on. Let me just try to do a slide. How's that? Is that any better?
No.
It's a bit
It's
better.
better. It is better.
We can also summarize.
Yeah.
Oh.
A little bit better? Okay. Well, I can always send this out via email after the meeting if you guys can't see it. But the survey, the public survey, climate ready infrastructure was 54% of the folks surveyed. This was the top priority. Faster transition to clean energy, protect the environment, faster transition to cleaner heating, cooling, energy efficient appliances, support and encourage main natural resource economy and building codes. That was the public survey. And then the public meeting number 2, the actions were climate action planning, strategic and comprehensive, communication and education, climate ready infrastructure, clean energy sources, electric school buses, blah, blah, blah. So does that help, Marty? Does that help?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'll send this out, guys. I'm sorry that you can't really see it very well.
Not that bad.
You're closer.
Yeah, I'm closer. Yeah, right.
My eyes aren't the greatest.
I know mine aren't, these glasses. You to read something.
So what do we want to do?
But thank you.
Yeah.
With the money.
So I think I talked with Sri a little bit about our project planning process, and she was pointing out that we can use different criteria for thinking about how we want to prioritize projects. And what I mean by that is we can think about, do we want to pick projects that are going to prioritize people and their physical safety first versus prioritizing things like property, infrastructure. There are kind of different types of priorities we can propose as the community action grant project. That's not to say that there aren't additional projects that we can recommend the town pursue, but I think it would be helpful for us to identify one project that kind of rises above the others as one that we'd like to get those specific funds for. And then the others we happily list, and then we can identify, additional funding sources that the town could apply for those other projects.
And does it have to be project ready so that it gets spent within a year or whatever, once we get the grant?
No, I don't think it needs to be like a shovel-ready project necessarily. It could be, depending on the project, it could be like a planning kind of project. I think they do want us to spend the funds in a somewhat timely manner. Is that answering your question?
It sounded a little indefinite.
It really depends on the project. Like, do you have an example?
Well, I was thinking of Leslie's project. It's not, we have no idea what the cost is,
Which
and
one?
remediating
The wetlands,
Pleasant Street extension.
I will have a lot more definitive information in the next few months, Marty, because we've had an engineer come and meet with us. I've spoken to the DEP. I'm setting up a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers. So we're moving along. But to me, I am working on that as much as I can, but I feel like that would be a nice bang, and also the community center would be a nice big bang for one of our first projects. It's something that could help a lot of people quickly. That would be a good win for us.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
also
I'm
think,
just thinking that, your project isn't ready. If we're gonna be doing this several years, it needs to be more ready to move it forward than it is at this point.
Well, we don't have money for anything yet, so nothing's
No,
ready until we have money, right?
Right, that's what I'm saying, that,
Yeah, I think that would be a good example, Marty, of, are we prioritizing projects, that prioritize the environment or like parts of the town? Or do we want to prioritize projects like that help people more quickly? I think there's.
and that's where I was leading in my question of, is the project ready?
Mhm. Yeah,
You know,
and
it
because
can't
I think
be,
Pleasant Street Extension is
this-
gonna be
A
a
few years
large,
out, yeah,
complex project
Right.
that needs a little bit more time to bake.
right.
but I don't think anything that we put down right now is project ready.
No.
Oh, yeah, you can put in heat pumps, whatever.
But we don't have a product, we don't have it detailed and everything. That's when I think of
No,
project ready, is you have the details.
Right, but you could, put the money towards an electric bus. You
So
could, there's several projects that are ready. I mean,
But
you just
we
have
have to prioritize, I think, so I don't think electric buses would be a priority at this point.
I'm just saying that was on the list.
Yeah, but I don't, when you look at it, it was in the middle there, on the survey, on the workshop.
I don't know, was that,
I couldn't see it well.
We
I'll
did-
send it out. You guys can see.
we didn't vote on prioritizing those, we just listed them. It was brought up by several people. We didn't
So
vote
it wasn't
on
done by
there
numbers,
was
I wasn't
never-
there on that day. Okay.
the items on the right were
Yeah,
not,
okay,
prioritized. They
I'm
were just
mistaken,
listed.
so, fine, okay, thanks.
They were semi-prioritized in the group that was on that side of the room. But I think this other group had grouped potential projects into short-term, medium-term, longer-term projects. I agree with you, Leslie, and I think preparing the community center as a shelter for climate emergencies makes a lot of sense. That's sort of a concrete project that's gonna benefit a lot of community members. And it's something that, a $50,000 grant, I think, could go a long way towards.
Mhm.
And the town is already considering upgrading facilities to make them more energy efficient, so we could maybe hopefully dovetail with that. That for the Johnson Control projects.
If people are gonna,
Say, work on the community center first and get it ready for climate emergencies.
this place with the community center, this is for overnight? food. So I was thinking maybe working with the food pantries. And it's also a way, those
Mhm.
are the people who are at risk that go
Yeah.
to the food pantries. And I thought that would be a good way to put something when they come to get their meals, have it, or be there with a little booth or something, instead of you have any questions about what we want to do, you know, how we're planning on doing this. And
It's a good idea.
I only say this because I volunteer with the food pantry here, but for all of, now this is just for Wiscasset, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So that, I mean, the food pantry at St. Philip's takes care of Wiscasset. And
Yep.
over a period of time, not everybody comes every week, but we could make sure, or I could make sure, that could be my little thing, that they have, and I guess the cost of printing everything is what would have to be considered for that. Because they're gonna be the hardest
That's-
people to reach.
Yeah.
I agree, that should be listed as a project.
I personally would like to see it as number one,
Yeah,
because I think it
Yeah.
also says to the community that we're really doing something
yes,
for them.
yes.
Mhm.
The community center.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
thing is, I want to hear from Dwayne and then Rob
Yeah.
Wickford
Mhm.
to see what we actually have and don't have and what's listed as a shelter, because
Yes.
the last thing I see online was, well, not last, but at one point, the fire station was open as a cooling center, so the local and the county EMA has this stuff all listed, so
Yeah.
in terms
That's a
of
good
what
idea.
they do, what they can do.
That's a great idea.
I'll tell you, the Boy Scout Hall, that for some reason, some people want to sell, they want to make money, which I don't know what we're gonna do with the 50 cents that we're going to make off of that. But this would be, a, an
A lot easier to
opportunity
hold.
to say, you know, we could use the community center, or we can prepare, we can use a building that we already have. And it can be prepared for, hot or cold. I suppose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a little thought.
It's a thought. Yeah. I mean, that building is kind of a shanty, but the community center is nice because it already has showers and bathrooms and a
Absolutely.
gymnasium for cots and
So these
It's ready
people
to
don't
go.
belong, so how would they get to use the showers?
Yeah,
That's the,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like they're gonna be going in there every day, it's just while.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is temporary, right? This
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a night or 2 nights.
You
Yeah,
would hope it would be temporary.
Yes.
All the electricity is out.
I'm gonna move in.
Yeah, and Marty, you brought up, like, I lived through Hurricane Sandy, I was living in New York, just north of New York City at the time, and we didn't have power for 8 days.
Right.
And it was
Wow.
really cold. So we could get in a situation where we have more hurricanes hitting our area, which hasn't happened.
generators.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
so having a place for people to go is so critical.
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, we
Really
need to
cool.
talk to Dwayne. It's a good
Yeah.
point, Evan. We need to meet with Dwayne. We don't want to
Yeah.
surprise him.
Hey, we've got a big bunch of money for you. Well, we already kind of bought.
Hey, Dwayne, guess what?
Yeah,
That
So-
could happen.
I agree. I think more information would be helpful. I think personally, I feel like we have enough information to make this as a recommendation,
Mhm.
as the priority for the community action grant, and we can collect information to help write that grant, actually. Yeah, and we can talk more with, Dennis as well during the
Yeah.
process, considering the resolution. Okay, so any additional projects that we want to list, as part of our recommendations to the select board?
Well, of course, I want to continue with the Pleasant Street extension, if only to focus on using some of that fill to shore up 4th Street where we had all that flooding. But, to Marty's point, this may be months maybe in stages that stretch out over several years because it's such a big project. But I'm going to keep pushing for Pleasant Street Extension, but I don't expect the funding from our community action grant to be used for this project. I think I have other sources at this point.
Thank you, Leslie. That's helpful. Marty, I know you've been tracking the Johnson Control project and the upgrades. I think one thing we haven't necessarily recommended to the town is that they prioritize electrification and non-carbon emitting sources of heating and cooling in those upgrades. I think that would be an easy recommendation that we can make as a project to the town as they're already planning to undertake this project.
Well, see, what they'll be doing is giving us a list of projects. Supposedly, this is what he claimed, is a list of the projects and what they cost. And if, that's why I think once we see that, we should have some input into what we like and what we don't think is to the best interest as far as climate.
Who would provide that list?
Johnson Control,
Yeah.
they're gonna be presenting, and I guess we got it for no cost, so they may be having that before the June election, so we might be voting on it in June. Do you have any idea when that might be coming?
No,
Okay.
no. I know that it's not in here anywhere, but I have an interest in, that there are no charging stations anywhere
Down Scotta.
Mhm.
In our
And
town.
Oh, no,
No.
nothing in Wisconsin.
near.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
That was brought up.
That's one of mine is charging station, and then my second one is participating in the community rating system, which is, I think it's something I brought up
What is
7 months
that?
ago.
What is that, just help me out with ratings.
I'll tell you all about it.
Okay, good.
The community rating system is part of the National Flood Insurance Program.
Okay.
So your town or, your municipality participates in a bunch of different programs, so this goes into awareness and everything else, so elevation certificates for buildings at the openings, map information services, outreach projects, hazard disclosures, flood protection and information, assistance promotion, flood hazard mapping, open space preservation. So a lot of these things were basically flood data maintenance, stormwater management, stuff that we're already doing. But then when you enroll in the community rating system, it gets discounts off flood insurance for people in
Oh,
that.
that's great.
That's really
So
good.
not only
Yeah,
are you
it's
doing, not only are you doing the awareness and the outreach, but it also has a monetary.
Oh, that would be, I'd love to know more about that. That
So
speaks to dollars and
does that have a
cents.
cost to it?
Well,
To
it would
participate?
probably be, no, you just have to have somebody compile the info, figure out what we're not doing well enough. Some of it's as simple as just, here's our map in a paper format, it's at the library, and that's, like stuff like that. And as of right now, it's 22 towns in Maine that are even in the system. So,
Evan, do you happen to know how many people might be required to have flood
I
insurance? if we
have been
don't?
trying to figure that out.
Mhm.
And even though people that are required don't, it's a voluntary thing, but it might be
I'd be concerned at this point if people can get it.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
that's the thing is, you can always get national flood insurance in that program,
Yeah,
because that's
okay.
what they want you to feed you into that anyway. Because FEMA doesn't do as much as that program does. But the other thing is, if the town has like the wastewater treatment plant in that insurance program, don't know how it works. but regardless of how many people are in it, I think it's just the activities on it are good enough for awareness and outreach, and then this is just a convenient
Yeah.
thing to cap everything into, and then it also says, hey, if you actually are in the service, because that's like, okay, who are we doing it for if nobody's in it? But it's like, well, if we're already doing all this stuff, you just gotta hit apply and re-up it every year or 2 or 5 or whatever it is, then playing ball.
Well, so what you say, the person that wants it just hits the button and, or the town does it?
The town,
The
we
town.
compiled what we do for activities, and I can pass this around.
Yeah,
Could you put it in, I mean, if we looked at this, it kind of goes with number 1, doesn't it? In the, I'm trying to figure out where it could be, we could just state it in there.
But this wouldn't need money, right?
I would say it might go in
It
number
would need
4.
like
Is it number
some
4?
administration
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
probably,
Seeing risk.
and probably some
Yes.
level of planning
Risk
to
asset.
expand what
We
we don't
just
have.
slide that in.
But I think for less than 10,000, you can do a lot of stuff.
Hmm.
The last page has the
okay.
activities.
Oh,
We
good.
could find out.
If you could send me a description of the request for that, or what this would entail, that I think, Kevin, that would really help describing it.
What is this one? Is this-
Oh, it's only a 300-page manual, and those
Oh
are
my
the fun
God,
4
yeah,
pages out of the whole thing.
Ah, the 4 pages.
Well, I was an intern in Damascata, and they were, if you remember, trying to build a seawall around their back parking lot to take all of those buildings out of their flood zone,
Yeah.
because a bunch of them
Yeah.
are supposed to have flood insurance,
Yeah.
and they don't. And
Oh,
then
no.
after like 3 months of bickering about, well, how high is the wall gonna be, and are we gonna put something on it, and blah, 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 the feds finally said, you know what, screw the wall, you guys aren't getting this wall, this is $3 million for your piddly bunch of buildings, we don't care about this, so they're still planning on ripping up the parking lot and putting more stormwater storage underneath that parking lot and fixing some of the drainage issues, but I kept saying, hey, why don't we just spend like $2,000 and get in this program, and then somebody actually saves money rather than a 7-year battle for a wall that didn't happen. Sound familiar? I don't know anything about that.
Can we
Yeah.
somehow get the, I can't think of the name
What
of
do you
it.
want?
I don't want to say poop plant, but that's all I can think of.
Wastewater.
Waste. Because, I mean, that's gonna, did you see how close that was? The water
Oh, yeah.
around
it
that?
was-
Yes, it almost certainly, I would imagine, must have insurance already, because it is in the floodplain.
Yes, they put on a small island in a river.
Mhm.
Okay,
Jeez.
great, all right, so we have the community
600.
center, the Pleasant Street Extension Project, municipal efficiency upgrades. It's recommending non-carbon emitting sources of heating and cooling to be prioritized. EV charging stations, participating in the National Flood Insurance Program's community rating system.
How many is that?
That is 5.
Are you gonna put dollars out there to the side saying this would, the estimate?
I don't think we can have estimates. However, we can identify potential sources of funding.
Mhm.
So any folks who are taking point on some of these projects, identifying potential sources of funding to assist. Not
Okay.
all of these necessarily require funding, but we have some resources through the Community Resilience Partnership where they also help identify sources of funding
Oh, they do.
through the
Okay.
community list.
That's good.
Yeah. I wanted to recommend or discuss with you all, there's one additional potential project that the select board has said that they're going to undertake, which is moving the wastewater treatment.
Oh, God, yes.
Mhm.
And so the Maine Infrastructure Adaptation Fund, which is run through Maine DOT, is open for grants
Wow.
again. And it is open only to towns that have enrolled in the Community Resilience Partnership. So we're going to be eligible for this.
Yes, great.
Consider recommending that Wiscasset apply for that for
yes.
the wastewater treatment plant.
Yes.
They're going to need to cobble together a lot of funding probably from different.
Yeah.
That's gonna be very expensive.
But
Yeah.
that, I don't know what the total amount, but last time this grant opportunity was open, there was $20 million. So
Oh,
other
okay, fine.
towns apply to their wastewater treatment plants.
Oh, so
Yeah.
the 20 million goes all the way around to all the
All the way
towns.
around.
Yeah, yeah. Because isn't it going to be like about a 40, what is it, Terry, 40 million to move the wastewater treatment plant?
27 million if we were going to move to the Federal Street location, 27 million. It was gonna be 35-ish, yes, exactly, to move it up to where the,
Mason Station.
No, no,
the town crew is.
Public Works, the Public Works building.
Public Works, I couldn't
Yeah.
get those.
I just think that
ones up.
sounds, having been
And
through.
then 44 million to put it over close to the Mason Station.
Right.
The
Which I
what?
think is also.
Mason
under
Station.
sea level rise,
Yeah.
so.
I think it doesn't,
Yeah, Public Works makes the most sense.
The Public Works location was, I think that was targeted by Dennis as the.
Yeah.
Which one was that, 2735, or which
Hmm?
one was that?
The Public Works is up
No, which million?
It's a,
35.
Yes.
Yeah, all of these projects are more
Then one's gonna be available, but
than, at least by the state, but they're federal grants.
there are a
Yeah.
lot of federal grants available, and, us passing this resolution should make it easier for the town, hopefully, to demonstrate
Yes,
that there are climate concerns here, that
Yes,
there's a recommendation.
That should be in your write-up.
You're gonna add that,
yeah.
okay.
They'll all vote for that then, there won't be any objection.
Go to the proof class?
But, well, I think,
Okay,
I won't
so-
say anything.
Are we comfortable including that as a recommended project for the town? Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so move it to higher ground, out of the reach of sea level rise. Ideally the public works site, and apply for the main infrastructure adaptation money.
Yeah, we still have 5, but that's 6.
6.
I think we wanted 6, yeah.
actually, DEP is gonna require it, so, recommendation being.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I like the, and it was in our group, but a lot of people like the electric bus.
Yes,
Gives you an example,
that's true. That's an easy recommendation.
right, and there's a lot of grants for that too.
Yeah, yeah.
And town vehicles?
yeah,
There's
town
not enough.
vehicles would make more sense.
Those folks plowing the roads all the time? I mean, that's,
Don't want that to be electric.
Yeah, I don't think that's
oh,
enough
that's right,
power.
I saw that.
yeah, I don't think they have the.
Not in the middle of winter.
I mean, so these are a lot of money. Could we start small, like all the maintenance, like the lawn mowers and blowers, and electrify those first, like start small? Get the
think
EV
that's a
charging
good idea.
station and then start small with maybe some of the maintenance equipment. I think the bus
That's a
is gonna
good
cost
idea.
us so much money,
Yeah,
right? Isn't that gonna be, how much is an electric bus? 50, 60, 70 grand?
Oh, at least, probably 100 grand.
200 to 250, I think.
And then, we need multiple buses. We don't just have one. So I mean, it feels like it's a lot. We just buy one electric bus and everybody else rides the regular buses. Like, I'm confused about how that would work.
Yeah.
We start out with 1.
We start out with one, and then, I think as equipment needs to be replaced, prioritize electric.
You wouldn't want to buy 8 at once anyway, and have them all have the same problem within 1 year, whichever.
thank you.
Staggered replacement.
Yeah, that's true.
Certainly.
They do get like 8 miles to the gallon though, so. It's like chewing,
It really starts, yeah.
it's really chew right into that upfront cost when you're getting.
But also
Yeah.
that air quality is horrendous in school buses, and so the impacts to growing lungs.
Sure.
They are definitely harmed by diesel emissions. They're some of the worst air quality.
Especially if you're sitting in the back of the bus.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, the design of buses kind of sucks the tailpipe exhaust into the buses. It's awful.
Mm.
Okay, so we have 7 projects right now.
Would you just go, could you just pull it, what kind of like,
Absolutely.
please?
Yes, and I want to do a time check. It's 6:56. We did start a few minutes late, so we could go maybe 5 minutes over just to wrap up. But maybe we can start wrapping up and summarizing. So it sounds like potentially our priority project for the Community Action Grant application will be preparing the Wiscasset Community Center for a town-owned building as a shelter for climate emergencies.
Right.
Then next, there's the Pleasant Street Extension project. Third, municipal efficiency upgrades, making sure that they are going to be green or non-polluting.
What was that again?
The municipal efficiency
Oh.
upgrades, basically
Yes.
be more efficient, use electric heating and cooling, and not emitting more greenhouse gases. Install EV charging stations, public EV charging stations.
Mhm. Oh,
Like in public parking lot.
Install public EV charging stations in public parking lots. Okay,
How do those things work? Do you pay while you give them?
Some places are free and other places are pay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah, are we gonna be free or
What?
pay?
This town, you'll
You'll pay.
count on paying,
You'll pay.
'cause someone's gotta pay the electric bill,
Yeah,
Someone's gotta pay.
Sure.
but
I love it that you start about the small things like the lawn mowers and all of
Yeah.
that. I think that's a great place
Working
to
our way through
start.
our list, participating in the National Flood Insurance Program Community Rating
Mhm.
System. Move the wastewater treatment plant to higher ground out of the reach of sea level rise, ideally the public works site, and apply for main infrastructure adaptation fund to fund that. And then lastly, I wrote this down as transition town equipment and vehicles to electric for low emissions, including electric school buses. And so we can have, for example, lawn and outdoor equipment. Have the town vehicles. And so on.
We're gonna get a
So-
copy.
Yes, we're all
Okay,
getting
good,
a copy.
thank you.
These are the projects that
Mhm.
will go as part of the letter to the select board to say, here's a list of projects that fit within these strategic areas that we identified in the resolution. And also, I will add in potential sources of funding. I mean, reach out to you all to
Mhm.
do a little quick research to assist with that.
That's good.
But I do know of several sources for these already, and I will definitely ask you all
Okay.
for assistance where it's needed.
Good.
Okay.
This feels like a very doable list.
Does everyone agree with it?
Does everybody agree
Yeah.
with it? Is everybody
Yeah.
comfortable?
I do. It's ambitious,
Yes.
but I would assume the select board is going to look at that list and pare it down. And hopefully, because I mean, once we get the go ahead to do these things, now we have to actually dig in and drive them to completion. So that's a lot of work
Yes.
for
And
us.
this is something definitely that'll be done over time. Like, we won't be able to do all of this year,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
if we can get some of it started, that'll be enormously helpful.
Well, I like being able to just start getting the information out to the people who need it, and the food pantries will meet, you know, you're there every week. So and that could be started.
Every Thursday.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, that was
Great.
more ready to go.
yeah.
Is that
would
the
be.
top priority? Are you putting this in a priority?
Yeah.
list?
Isn't it?
Yeah,
So
so
the
the
community
top
center-
one is the community center, and that's the one that we want to apply for community action grant
Right,
or that we're gonna recommend, but you all may decide you actually want to pick another project on this list.
but,
This is
yeah,
our recommendation.
it's good to have your recommendations. That's
And some of the grants,
then have to justify why they would want to move something about that.
I recall some of the grants that were awarded had more than one project. In other words, let's say, Evan's project might cost, $5,000. He said it might be administration costs, and then you could have something else that might take another 25,000, and so you could add them all up to what you think the cost would be.
For the community action grant.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that that would make us successful in our application.
Well, I
To
think
have a
it-
number.
I think that actually happened.
Did
If
it?
you look at the thing, if I recall correctly.
I'm not recalling, but if you'd like to send me that example, I think our application would be much stronger if we focused on one project, and the community center as an emergency shelter, I'm sure would take all of that 50,000.
We also have to think about pets. I'm still thinking about that, pets.
That would be good in the planning process to think through. Okay,
So I have just one question as far as action with the community center. We need to find out what's really going on, whether it's a shelter, whatever. So I'm away for a month, so, can someone go to, Dwayne and talk to him? Who would that be? Who's going to volunteer?
I don't know him. I'll go with someone, be happy to.
No, I could do that for you
Could you say it?
if you want.
I'd go with you, Terry.
I was gonna
I go with you.
Great.
Okay.
Him and
Yeah, I'll go
Rob.
too if you want.
I
Okay,
mean, that's
Well, that's
what a liaison can do, huh?
Yeah.
Him and Rob is our local EMA director.
What's Rob's last name?
Bickford.
Victor. Oh, yeah.
Chief.
Oh, yeah. Bob,
yeah.
Bob
Now I
Dick's
know.
son. EMA, emergency.
Local EMA, emergency management procedure.
okay,
Great.
great.
Thank
So we'll
you.
try to get more information. I think this is perfectly adequate for the select board, but
I do too.
once we start writing that grant application with Sri, who will write the draft application for us, and she can help get some information as well.
Is the community center right now an official warming center?
I think it is.
It isn't a warming center, I'm not sure it's a cooling center.
I'm sorry about.
I think we need to find that out.
We need to find out information. Obviously, the employees at the center are maybe not universally trained.
That's right.
Also, there's some anti-trans phobic signage at the community center that I'm pretty sure violates
Aye, aye,
the Human Rights Act.
What is it?
It's a sign about you have to use the bathroom or
Designated to your gender?
designated to your gender. And I'm pretty sure that's in violation of Maine.
Yes, I'm sure it is.
I haven't won that
When did they
battle yet.
cut those up?
Last March. I had a conversation with them and so in our shelter conversation, we want to make sure we're following all the laws
Yeah.
and it's accessible there.
Well, if you don't follow that one, you don't get the money. Money talks. It's got a big voice.
Okay, fantastic. I think this was extremely productive. Really appreciate all of your time. I had another couple quick reminders, before we conclude, which is we are moving to a fourth Wednesday meeting schedule, which means that we have a regular meeting next week. Thank you, Marty, for sending an agenda item. I need to pull the agenda together and then get that to the town to post to the website. But that will be up, and I hope we can talk through some planning for this year for what we will be doing as a committee, things we want to work on. I really want to do an Earth Day event.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I couldn't hear.
Earth Day.
And I thought that, okay, I think that would be fabulous.
I think that would be great,
Yeah.
but give your ideas,
Yeah.
we can do some goal planning, some work planning, and have a good discussion next week. And, I will circulate to you all the letter to the select board as soon as I write it.
Terrific.
Thanks, Cassie.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Great meeting. Yay.
Yeah.